Welcome to this Phi Beta Mu Legacy Project interview. I have the privilege today of talking with my longtime friend and Phi Beta Mu Hall of Fame member, Dan Havy. Dan, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank.
Dan,
Glad to be
uh,
here.
I remember hearing your bands at state contest all those years, as I was coming up through junior high and high school. You're one of those people that, kind of said to me, this is what it can be like if you're willing to
Oh,
work
well,
hard.
you're too kind.
So for those that are watching and listening, let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
How did you get into music to start with?
Well, I'm from Morristown, Tennessee, and my high school band director was Kenneth Large. And my senior year, he left and took what is now UNA, but it was the Florence State College band, you know. And he persuaded me to come down, and a bunch of guys, bunch of people from the Morristown band came to Florence, and many of them stayed the whole time. But I came in '62 and graduated in '66. And Ken was a strong influence. He instilled the importance of fundamentals, and that was my whole teaching premise from then on.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I got a master's degree at Memphis State. It was university, but it was Memphis State back then with Tom Ferguson and Art Thiel. I took a year off from school, and the band director at the middle school, Pat Bacon, who just passed away recently. I'm so sad to say, but he was there for 40 years. Pat did it from 72 to 73. But anyway, I was there from 66 to 2000.
Wow.
33 years. And
long time.
well, that's unusual. But I inherited
Absolutely.
a great program. Jimmy Cowart had the band.
Yes.
J.L. Cowart. Frankie came in 1945. So from 1945 to 2000, there was two band directors at Athens High School. That's 55 years.
That's amazing.
You don't hear that anymore. That's a thing of the past too, right?
And of course, Jimmy Cowart is also a Phi Beta Mu
Yes,
Hall of
he
Fame
is.
member.
Yes, he is.
And most people, of course, so many people won't even have known of him because of just the time difference.
Yeah.
But how many band directors do you know that actually have a school named for them? Not just the band room, but a whole school named after them. And Jimmy Cowart does that in Athens. So now, how did you wind up? Because in our earlier talk, you told me that you knew like your junior year or so that you were going to be going to Athens.
Well,
how
Jimmy,
did all that happen?
Jimmy had a jazz band, little country club, cocktail, maybe 6, 7-piece band. And I got to playing with it, playing trumpet. And Jimmy would even leave after halftime on Friday nights to come and play sometimes. But I got to know him through playing gigs with him, and pretty much everything I was so fortunate. I didn't miss anything. I was 21 when I came to Athens, and I had a kid in the band who was 19. So that shows you how close everything was. But it was just a wonderful thing. Jimmy was great, but I'll tell you, the first time I walked into the band room, I came in on July the 5th, 1966. And the first meeting that I had with the band, summer practice.
Yeah.
Jimmy goes up in front of the band and says, "Boys and girls, this is your new band director." And handed me the podium. And he said, "Have at it," So
wow.
That was my introduction by what, fire? I don't know. But it
Absolutely.
was,
Yeah.
I got my feet wet really, really early. Yeah. He was very supportive, but he was tired of marching band, and
I can,
stuff.
yeah.
And he wanted, uh, so I did and stayed on. He was just a great guy, great
Mhm.
guy.
Yeah. And people often say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it looks like you got busy knowing people, that
Yeah.
you put yourself out there and he got to know you, you got to know him.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, he took me around town,
yeah,
introduced me to
that
everybody
he knew who
downtown.
he wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he got to, he introduced me to the bank and banker and
Yeah.
clothes cleaner and I don't know
Yeah.
what all, but he took me around and said,
Yeah.
and
So,
he says, once you wear a pair of shoes out, you won't leave. So I guess maybe I did
there you
wear a
go.
few out. Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Somebody coming into a program that's already well established,
Mhm.
when it's a small program, there's not much there and there's not much you can do to make it worse. That's one thing. How do you follow a legend like that? How do you,
Mhm.
how do you, what words of wisdom would you have for somebody that's going into a situation like that?
Well, in this case, Jimmy was just, like I said, real tired of the marching band. So I had to come in there, and kind of stir up the fire a little bit. I
Yeah.
changed a
Yeah.
lot of the things that they had been doing traditionally and stuff, but all for just for music though. And he's stayed out of my way. I mean, I stayed out of his or whatever, but he said, do it, and so I was so lucky to have him. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And so success then came fairly early. It was a
Fairly
it was
early.
a
I
good
no, we
program
didn't
and
make.
you very
Yeah, at state contest, it took me about 4 years to figure things out, but we we started getting ones in 1971 and continued on to 2000. So
yeah. Yeah. It was a
that was
great,
about it.
great run.
I Frank, my emphasis and uh, Kenneth Large's and Jimmy's was teaching fundamentals,
Mhm.
and I we taught worked out of the chorale book and stuff, but I got this system of soprano, alto, tenor, and bass, and started learning to get them to listen, not use their eyes on a tuning machine, but use
Mhm.
their ears, And that took some while, but those long tones that we did every day, about 15 minutes, without, you see the bands, that guy go in there and they'll blow a few notes and then they'll start right on the music. We warmed up like that even on the field. We would take
Mhm.
15 minutes playing long tones and chorales and things, and it just, I think it really helped their sound, and that's the
Well,
most important thing in teaching music. Sound is the tone, because everything in music spins off tone. You
mhm.
you have tone. If you look at a judge's sheet,
It's the first
tone.
thing.
That's the
Mhm.
first thing. And it's we went to district contests not very well prepared a lot of times, and I was hoping that maybe they'll just like the sound of all those wrong notes we are playing and stuff. Or we'd wind up with this giant chord at the end. It's tuned up. Okay, good. But no, man, my instructions to the band, of course, we were known for not doing things like everybody else, being kind of off the wall type thing. And my instructions to them when we left the warm up room was, we're not going to stop. Keep playing no matter what. Because there's times more often than not that we went to district and had never played through the music straight through ever. And that's kind of living on the edge, I guess, or it's just lack of organization on my part or whatever. But it was oh man, yeah. We had some close calls too, but anyway, managed to get by. Yeah.
Mhm. So you were one of those that really used that time between district and state really to your advantage.
Of
You,
course.
you know,
Frank,
uh-huh.
oh, excuse me. I
You,
just always thought my band sounded better in April than it did in March,
yeah, yeah.
or
It's
February.
mhm.
They're having contests now, the last week in February and calling it a day, that's it. And
Mhm.
I just think they ought to, my personal opinion, they ought to swap all state and state contest or the
Yeah.
contest, what they
Uh-huh.
call it now, the music,
MPA,
yeah,
Music
MPA.
Performance Assessment. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, if they'd swap those dates, we'd have better bands. I know that. But people get on there and they want their little grade and they get it. And who knows what happens the rest of the semester. But anyway,
Exactly.
that's
But
just a kind of a pet thing with me.
yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I, I knew when they went to that, but that and the block schedule has done more to affect bands than anything.
Mhm.
We went on it. I lost a lot of kids second semester, my
Uh-huh.
last 2 or 3 years.
So were you on a straight 4 period
Yeah,
block?
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we had band first period, which was good. And we came 30 minutes every day. I mean, all year long, early. We came at 7:30. And so I got really about a 2 hour rehearsal every day, which was good, but it it hurt second semester when the kids had to choose between AP or something, we
Right.
had some kind of it, but it
It
would band it. Most of them decided to stay. The last year I was there, Frank, at Athens, we had 205 in the band, in the marching band,
mhm.
and the school enrollment was 785.
Right. So
So
it's
we
not
had about,
was not a huge school
no, no,
by
no,
any
no.
manner of means.
It's
Yeah. I
still,
mean, you,
yeah, it was the
mhm.
most it ever was, but it was not quite 800. So we had, 20% of the school in the band. They loved it when we took trips, because they're all gone, or a lot
Yeah.
of them, a lot of
Over a
good
fourth of the
students too.
school.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, but that was the most disappointing thing. One of the most disappointing things was the nitwit block schedule, which I think is a
Yeah.
nirvana for lazy teachers.
Yeah, there's so many times when an administrative decision can do things to a program, unintentional,
Mhm.
unintentional, but I know exactly what you mean. It really forced every kid, if you're going to be in the band, a fourth of your high school career
No kidding.
is band.
Really,
One
and
out of
I
every
can see
four
that. I
periods
mean,
is
I
band.
can see somebody saying, Mr. Havy, I love playing, but I don't want, like there's other subjects I need. But a lot of the times they go to summer school or enroll in something at junior college or dual enrollment or something in order to stay in. But
It's tough.
your best
Mhm.
students are also your uh, most successful,
Mhm.
and when they start chomping around, you want the good kids, you know what I'm saying? But we had all
Absolutely.
kinds with that many.
Yeah, yeah. And now the whole now Pat was there at the junior high or
Mhm.
middle school. I can't remember which was called, and it's probably one that switched to the other. Was he there the whole time you were at
No, he
Athens
came
High?
5 years later.
Okay.
Pat's 5 years younger than I. He went to
Mm-hmm.
UNA,
Mm-hmm.
and but he came 5 years later, and we, just built, and he taught for 40, and but no, we couldn't have had what we had if we didn't have a good theater program. Everybody
Right. Yeah.
knows that.
Oh yeah.
But what was the beauty about it, though? Later on, I got an assistant, Daniel Carwile, had him for 3 years, and we would team teach the beginners every day. I'd
Okay.
go over,
Yeah.
and one of us would do brass, one would do woodwinds, one would do percussion, and then we would swap at the 6 weeks. And I had the when he was we had that was the best years that we ever had because of the success. He got ones, with the ninth grade band playing
Yeah.
stuff. But anyway, it was a wonderful experience with
Oh
the
yeah.
three of us. Yeah.
And so all the kids at the middle school knew you,
Yes.
and so coming on up to the high school, it was, yeah, Mr. Havy. We know
No,
Mr. Havy.
no,
You know,
they
I
knew
know
me.
him.
They
He
knew
knows
whether
me.
they liked me or not. Yeah.
Yeah,
But no, it was, 55 years, buddy, and it just,
yeah, yeah. I mean,
well,
is great.
those kind of days are gone, I'm afraid to say.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, it is, you know, well, always was challenging, to be a good band director, to have a good band. It's not an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of time, as you well know. How did you balance, work and life, to have a, family and band, anything that you could pass on to others about?
well, it was just, no, uh, the balance between the two, it was costly to me as far as family relationship. I mean, as far as being married and all that stuff. I guess I was married to the job. I don't know, but anyway, but that's the toughest thing. But I think just if you organize enough, and the biggest decision a band director will ever make is his choice of music. I learned a long time ago the hard way. You play something that you like, but your band can't play it, or they're not up to it. And I did.
Right.
I learned that the hard way too. But that's just basically it. But
Yeah,
we read all the time, Frank. We read every day, even in marching band. We would put a new stand tune or two in the folder every week. And at the end of the football season, we had so much stuff we could play, and it wasn't just playing a bunch of cheers and stuff, but we played marches too in the stands. You don't hear those anymore, but
no, you don't. And
I'm
it's a
of course a
shame.
big Sousa aficionado, I guess you might say. And
So you had marches in the folder during marching band and played those in the stands.
Well, we didn't. We stand tunes and everything, but we played lots of marches. Yeah, whole year long. Yeah, we played Sousa mainly.
Yeah. And I've often heard it said that the march is the perfect form of music, because of the variety of styles that you have to play.
Yes.
You have to separate. You got that style. You get to the trio, you have to have the lyric style and build and shape phrases. And then your low brass, you get to the dogfight section. And then you've got to take that a march just builds you all the way around. So
my inspiration for marches were the circus bands. If you
really
want to hear a march played, Marine band, Navy band, it doesn't matter. They know how. And
absolutely, yeah.
Really, Frank, you got to have a mental picture of what you want to sound like before you play. It's not play and then what is that? You got to have it in here, and if it doesn't match what you're hearing, then you hopefully fix it. But no, we played a ton of Sousa marches over the years, and I still get kidded by horn players. for playing Sousa. And I said, "Oh, you'll have your
All those
day in
offbeats.
court one of
Yeah.
these days."
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But they got the, that's the little chord in there, whatever. It's got to be
Yeah.
there.
You have that heartbeat going on
That's
between the
right.
bass
That's
and the French
exactly right.
horns. Yeah. And
Yeah.
if that's right, if that's it on all cylinders, you've got a foundation there. Now normally how far, of course we had district and state contests back in those days. When would you start on your selections for district contest? When did that stuff go in the folder, and how long did you work on it?
Well, like I said, I put a lot of stuff in the folder, and we would read through them and see, how it fit the band and everything. But there's many times that we didn't really decide what we were going to play. Maybe a couple of weeks before.
Really? Uh-huh.
Yeah, and like I said, just hoping that our basic sound quality and everything would get us by. I never looked at that as a final.
Yeah.
Product,
because a good tone is a good tone, and if you've got it, you've got it on everything. And if you don't have it on anything.
No.
So you kind of had a number of selections that let's see where the cream rises to the top and pick from those. But you had a number of things in the folder that were good possibilities.
Yeah.
Did you ever change the program between district and state?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, sure did. I don't know how many times, but we have changed maybe one of the overtures or one of the concert selections as a march and two pieces, and we normally pick the march and then see how that other stuff worked out. And anyway, we live to tell about it, I guess. I don't
Absolutely.
My whole thing is tone and don't take yourself too seriously. You know what I'm saying? I just, hey, we're all in the same boat, man. And we're trying to do a job, and
absolutely.
It's a hard job.
Do good things for kids. Yeah. Anybody that came through the program that later did some things with music that really stands out to you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I had a trumpet player violinist in the band. As the guy I hired as assistant, Daniel Carwile, and he was a world champion fiddler and violinist. He knew both. He went to Vanderbilt after graduation and wound up at UNA getting a band director gig. But he performed so many things with us, both on the field and on the concert stage. He soloed with us, and he was one of the most, all-state trumpet, first chair, red band, and all-state orchestra, first chair violin. So he was pretty, but one of those once in a generation type things. I've had some others, several people that have gone on that became really fine band directors too. I've got two, one in Pelham, Justin Ward. I don't know if you know Justin.
Oh,
he's
yes.
He's one of mine. I say one of mine, but I can claim him. And then Thomas Turpin, who is out at Westwood High School in Round Rock, Texas, a suburb of Austin. And Justin, it's a long story, but we used Down the Field as a march, as a fight song. I changed it. They were doing a Notre Dame fight song. Everybody else did Notre Dame, and I thought, well, stand outside the stadium, you don't even know who scored, you know? And so we changed that. And Justin got a hold of the original march that was written in 1917. It was the Yale fight song.
Okay.
And he got the original full thing, you know, the yellow page thing, and he arranged it for concert band, had it published, and Thomas Turpin, who was the band director, a former student of mine, who was a band director at Westwood, and he arranged it, and we performed it at Midwest this year. And I got to conduct that band, which is probably the finest high school band I've ever heard in my life. You know,
Wow.
It was incredible. Yeah, Westwood has with strong, great program, but man, they were basically flawless. But I got to conduct it Midwest, not my band, but somebody else's. But anyway, it was a great experience. Jerry Junkin was there. You know, several.
That's another big name. Yeah.
Several directors. Yeah, were on the same program, but it was a killer program, and I was just honored to be a part of it. So I bookended my career right there, man. When they played that last note, yeah, see you.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, this is great. You just you know, because I have known you, you know, well, certainly known of you since I was in junior high. You know, those days going out to state contest and listening to bands, and you know, yours was just one of those that were just always so well prepared. One I remember your rendition one year, Brighton Beach, after all these years, because that was one of my favorite marches as a youngster. And it was like, wow, you know, it was just so nice, so well done. And you know, and of course you were kind of like a rock star band director.
I don't know about that.
And you were just always so kind in your approach, and you know, it was just, you know, classy guy. So you know, after all these years, you know, such a pleasure to have this kind of interview now that your career has come to an end, and now the challenge is for those who are coming up to put in the same kind of work and emphasize tone quality, emphasize those fundamentals that have built bands for decades and decades, and keep that sort of thing going.
But just being open-minded and not I'll give you a story about that. One year, this is crazy, but this shows you what can happen, I guess. This killed these guys at this meeting. I got Achy Breaky Heart. Remember that song? That terrible.
Yeah.
Well, it came out after school had started, so people hadn't been working on it. So, and the secretary of the high school asked me, she said, Dan, have you ever heard Achy Breaky? And I don't know what that is. He says, well, you ought to get it and play it. Well, like my secretary up there, you know, the phone, you know, she covered for me all the time. And I said, I'll do it. And I got it. And we passed it out one morning, you know, before we went outside to play. And the drummers walked out. You know, they said, we're not doing this. And everybody was screaming, oh, yeah. And I said, get your rear end back in here and just shut up and play. So we did it. Well, anyway, we got it down. And that night, or that Friday night, at the end of the third quarter, I called it up. We got a standing ovation on both sides of the stadium. Now that may say a lot about our crowd, you know what I'm saying? But I kind of looked around them and I said, now what do you think? You know, but it was just, people went nuts over that. I couldn't understand it. But anyway, that's one of those things where you
Never know.
play what, you know, like Sousa playing Dixie, you know, he played it 20 times a concert when he came in the South, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, and you got to listen to those school secretaries, you know, they, they, they have their thumb on the heartbeat of the school and the
They
heartbeat of the
do. They do.
for the
Yeah.
jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dan, again, this has been such a pleasure. And, you know, congratulations on you being a Phi Beta Mu Hall of Fame member. Just a great testament to your career.
Well, I appreciate it. Maybe we shouldn't end on achy breaky heart. What else could we end on? You think? How about? When we went, I did lots of parades, and we did. We went out to Fiesta Bowl twice. And first time we played Stars and Stripes, beginning to end. You know, straight out. I edited the horn parts a little bit to reinforce the trombone thing, and we went back again, and we did Barnum and Bailey's Favorite.
That's a good one.
On the stage. Oh man, and that band, you know, I love parades because we could get them in that block, and that you could just slice it any way you wanted and just go straight ahead and play a good march. And I tell you what, people like marches, you know.
They do. Oh, absolutely.
They make you tap your toe if you do it right. That's what was it Louis Armstrong said, what good music that makes you tap your toe, it's good. So
yeah, that's it.
And Duke Ellington said there's two types of music, the good kind and the other kind. So let you figure that out too. So he was right. But anyway, we had a good run. We really did.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Dan, again, so good to talk with you. And I know this is one that a lot of people are going to enjoy. You know, they heard of you, heard your band, but all the behind the scenes stuff that, you know, what made the band sound like it did. And you know, about you.
Fundamentals.
So, yeah. So Dan Havy, Phi Beta Mu Hall of Fame. Thanks so much.